Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to AIM Impact on Your Health. AIM Impact on Your Health, where every day our goal is to have you learn at least one thing to help you live better and longer. AIM Impact on Your Health is heard each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney, and I'm with you each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. AIM Impact on Your Health, where each day you'll find current medical news, knowledgeable guests, fascinating health topics, and of course, where we do encourage you to call in to join in. Folks, we have turned the page. I told you it was coming. It has arrived. We are in the month of June. June 2 to be exact. Pull up that seatbelt just a little bit. It may get a little bumpy around here for the next 30 days. Today we're going to kick it off with someone you know very well. We're in the first week posture here at Courtney Medical, and as we usually do on the first Thursday of the month, we have a free seminar for those of you who have an interest in something called essential oils. Now, we've been doing this quite a while with a young lady who's very much aware and in tune with how essential oils can actually be. Her name is Susie Weiss, and she's going to be our guest today. So Susie is going to spend some time with you, maybe acquainting you for the first time with essential oils. If you're already acquainted, you may want to get down in the weeds and get some real sophisticated questioning out of the way too. And of course, this lays the groundwork for the free seminar she'll be holding here this week on Thursday in my office at 2 o'clock. Now, if you already know Susie and you want to be involved with that free seminar, you haven't been able to take the time to do the other ones she's been involved with, give us a call here at the office at 724-942-3002 so we can reserve a seat for you in the small group that usually clusters out here in my waiting room. Once again, Susie Weiss, our guest today. It's first week, first Thursday, essential oils here in my office at 2 o'clock if you want to be part of it. That number, once again, 724-942-3002. Now, of course, on Wednesday, our good friend Dr. Vavoom herself, Susan Smith-Jones, is going to be our guest. She's going to be talking about sleep, and then they'll bring us to Friday where we'll open them up and have open phones like we normally like to do on Fridays. A little bit of an aside, tomorrow afternoon, and you won't know anything about it as it happens, but I've really been preparing to launch a new product line, a new way to treat hypertension that so many are afflicted with through the use of nitric oxide. Now, we had an awareness of nitric oxide before, the L-arginine connection, which we thought was the key to unlocking nitric oxide, just never panned out. But there's certainly a way to do it now, and I'm going to be taping a show with a West Coast guest tomorrow afternoon at 4:30. His name is Dr. Chris Miletus. Now, he has been on the staff and in the administration of Bastyr Medical College, one of the most premier naturopathic schools in the world. And Dr. Miletus has consented with that little proviso that he not have to get up at 5:30 in the morning. So we're going to do it tomorrow afternoon, and I'll bring it up on one of the up-and-coming shows. In fact, I may even do it Friday. I think it's such an important launch. But we're set. We do have the product line. We have it on our website. We are ready to go, and I think you will be intrigued. If you have any hypertension issues at all brewing, you'll want to pay attention to when I announce when I can do the show, but I'm taping it tomorrow. I'll let you know how it goes when I see you on Wednesday. Then, this is the month, folks, that the top docs, those 20 top docs that are clustered out there in Phoenix, Arizona, we start bringing them to you each and every show. We're using Mondays and Wednesdays to feature one of the top docs. I say it's going to take me most of the summer, if not all of it, to get through them all, but they've all consented, they've all promised, and so sort of one-on-one, the message that they brought to the entire group in Phoenix and it served as the backdrop for the chapter of the book written by the 20 top docs called Learn How. Here it is. I'm looking at this thing right now as I'm telling you. Learn how the top 20 alternative doctors in America can improve your health. Each one of those 20 took an opportunity to hit the stage in Phoenix, presented their chapter. They're going to present their chapter to you, Pittsburghers. They're only doing it for you. It's the only place it's happening in the entire country. I like that. Anyway, here's the lineup as I know it right now. On the 9th, which is 1 week from today, Dr. Carl Robinson, an MD, will be on our show. He's one of the 20 top docs talking about aluminum toxicity, and he did bring some new information into light with respect to it. Then on the 11th, next Wednesday, Dr. Mike Margolis, a dentist, one of the 20 top docs for sure, talking about mercury toxicity. The following week, on the 16th, Mark Starr, and what a star he is. That name is, the man was destined to be famous with a name like that. Anyway, he's very much into the thyroid issue, and in particular, discovered the writings of Dr. Berta Barnes, the world-renowned expert on it, and how to cure heart disease through thyroid hormone administration. He caught me completely off guard with this topic. You got to hear it. He'll be our guest on the 16th to talk about that new book written by him. On the 18th, Dr. Lee Cowden, a board-certified cardiologist that does it all. He's sort of like a chief cook and bottle washer. He wrote a chapter on cancer cures, which seemed very inappropriate for a cardiologist to do. But when you hear this guy, you'll understand why. He is so versatile. And one of the 20 top docs. On the 23rd, real special guest, Dr. Bruce Shelton, a medical doctor whose claim to fame is homeopathy. He embraces it so much. He is so knowledgeable. He promised to give us our primer lesson in homeopathy as he teaches it throughout the world, literally. And then the new remedies, the series that he's put together through a company called DesBio. We're going to be related with and glommed on to DesBio and to Dr. Shelton. He'll be our go-to person whenever it comes to homeopathy issues. Then David Steenbach, the maverick of mavericks. This gentleman has been, unfortunately, persecuted and pillared by governmental agencies for the last 20 years. He has withstood the test that they have presented to him. He's beat them all, and now he's working in the stem cell area. A little bit about, we'll give him an opportunity to talk about his history, which I'm sure he doesn't want to talk about much, but also his newest pursuit, which happens to be in the area of stem cells. He's the guy in the country that's working on the stem cell issue, and he presented his chapter in the book and the top 20 docs on that very matter. He promises to do it to you, for you. Should also mention next Friday, Dr. Jimmy Barber, and he's a local doctor, a plastic surgeon. I've known him for years. He's involved with a new testing for those of you who have familial issues and concerned about whether or not the trait is being passed on to you. The thing I'm thinking about is the BRCA1 and BRCA2 thing, where breast cancer runs along certain lines in the family. There have been women who've taken very extraordinary means to protect themselves when those kinds of issues were brought to the forefront, not necessarily agreeing with the double mastectomies for someone that doesn't have cancer, but certainly in families where these are known, there is genomic testing available that can point to whether or not you have those issues with your own DNA. We're going to be talking about that with Jimmy Barber next Friday. Now, if that isn't enough, okay, this month is also a month where the 3-day treatment program that we're going to be offering for eye diseases, if you've got anything going on with the retina, and you have been aware of the Ed Contra 3-day treatment program, our days this month for the 3-day treatment program, in the midst of all this, mind you, is going to be 17, 18, and 19 of June. If you feel that you would like to be included in that group, please give us a call here at 724-942-3002. You want to talk to Sarah, Sarah will take control of it and get you moved toward getting all your records and making sure all the exams are done and getting Dr. Condrat the particular case history involved. This takes some time. We've just about, well, I'd say we're within the last week of reasonability. We got a nice group shaping up here, maybe our largest group ever here in June. And I'll tell you more about it as the month rolls on. Just taking a peek, mind you, and it's only a peek because July will fill up as quickly as June did. I'm looking at another one of the top docs coming to us. That's going to be out there on the 14th of July. His name is Dr. Nicholas Myers. Going to be talking about biological dentistry in general. Now, everybody, let's just see, except for Steenbach, Robinson, Margolis, Starr, Cowden, Shelton, all practice, along with Dr. Nicholas Myers, all practice in Phoenix, Arizona. This has become the haven for anything and alternative because of the licensure aspect there. It is only Arizona and Nevada that have a special licensure called MD Homeopathic. And they in each state have their own medical boards that adjudicate issues involving doctors who hold that license. It's become the place where if you were persecuted in any other state by a governmental agency, tell them to take the license and, well, let's just be polite, and return it. And then they moved off to Phoenix, and folks, they're just really enjoying themselves. Many of the calls we'll be making in this month of June is going to be with a Phoenix doc. And I'm going to ask them each and every time about how it feels to be practicing in Phoenix, because that's absolutely where they never started. It's where they ended up. And we'll let it go at that. By the way, for the battle cry, you know what it is, folks. When I use the word battle cry, here it comes. Have you thrown away your calcium supplements for today? And by the way, have you poured that glass of milk down the sink? If you are a listener to this show, I don't have to explain any more about it. And if you're not, and you're dumbfounded by how a doctor could make such a crazy statement, you want to stay tuned or you want to go to the archives and hear Dr. Thomas Levy tell you why. It's not in your best health interest to be taking calcium supplements anymore. Okay. I think that's about the time to pull it into the pits, folks. Let's take a short break. In the interim, we're going to go find her. She's over here in Ohio, not too far away, but she's been coming aboard with us each and every month. The subject will now turn to essential oils by the person who knows the most about it that I know of personally and has enriched my understanding of it. Now, to enrich yours, Susie Weiss will be back with us right after the break. Okay, we got her. Give me a few seconds. Thank you.
Start on the path to more energy.
Susie, are you out there?
I am. Good evening.
Welcome. Good morning. How are you today?
I'm good.
We are in the month of June. Susie, are you ready for it? If you've laid out the months for your plan of attack for this month.
Yes. Like you said, I'll be in the office, this Thursday. And someone wants a scan who came before, they can...
Oh, yeah, we'll let you mention that one now. Very good. I didn't mention the scan, so now. Are you listening to the show before I dialed you up or not? Well,
yeah.
Okay.
Lots of good stuff coming up.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a good month. Okay,
yeah.
So how do you want to kick this one off today? There's always a group of people. You got to give a 5-minute summation about the essential oils. You just can't start in the middle.
Right, absolutely. But I will say that it would be great to talk a little bit about some of the, one woman specifically asked me about Lyme disease. And
all right. That's just say you can lead right into that yourself, saying you're getting questioned about Lyme's. All right.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, and then talking about what you do on Thursdays, because there's always a new group listening to that.
Right. Absolutely.
All right. Here we go.
Okay.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to AIM Impact on Your Health. Heard here at KHB 620 each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney with you today. We have turned the page. We're in the first days of June, June 2nd to be exact. But it's that first week phenomenon around here that gets the juices rolling. Now, we got a lot packed into the first week, of course, but there keeps each and every month being the ability for you out there to get real familiar with something called essential oils. Now, I think it's been since December. We started this back in December, and our guest today keeps on enriching us and educating us on the use of essential oils because her knowledge on this subject is so great. It's so vast. It's helpful to have her guide us through this essential oils. Her name is Susie Weiss. She is with us right now. Let's say good morning and welcome aboard, Susie. Thanks for coming back. It's the first week. Are you excited for the first week around here?
I am. I'm very excited.
Well, you've been helping people get familiar with essential oils now for many months. I think this is your fourth one coming up. Am I right about that?
I think we started definitely doing this in January.
Yeah, maybe
February. February. I think I started.
Okay, so this is number 4 coming up. But the issue of essential oils, I always have to be mindful of the fact that there may be a new listener out there who has no idea what essential oils are. So, in the best way you can, try to bring us up to speed rapidly so that we don't lose the attention of the people who absolutely know what they are. What are essential oils? Help us out.
Well, essential oils are basically the liquid, of an aromatic plant. That basically the oil that travels through the plant that helps carry oxygen throughout the plant, helps carry nutrients and minerals to the cells, helps to protect that plant from bacteria, from fungus, from parasites, from disease. And so these oils are very antibacterial, antiviral, and they're basically man's first medicine. So the first medicine that people had was the plants that God had given us, and they would go out and pick the plant and smash it up and get the juices out of it, and they would rub it on, or they would, put it in a tea or whatever. So they were using the oils, and that's been passed on, through the centuries. And then it just seems like in more recent years, the last 100 years, we've pretty much lost touch with this. And so there's, a big surge of people that are interested in kind of getting back to that. And essential oils have been in the United States, but they have been pretty much used just for aromatherapy, just for the smell, just for, potpourri or making something smell nice. And so there wasn't the concern about them being therapeutic grade, able to be used actually for medicine or, for helping to encourage. I know because of the FDA, we have to be careful what we say, so Young Living is actually registered as a skincare food supplement company. But there are various websites where you can see the testimonies of what people have been using the oils for and how they've been tremendously helpful in so many different areas of a person's life. And in my own life, over the last 3.5 years, I've been using these oils. I say I'm a great advocate for and a great example of someone who is just an ordinary person, does not have a medical degree. I'm not a doctor or a nurse. But I am very passionate about natural healing because I myself have basically revamped my own health by learning more about natural healing. And over the last 4.5 years, 5 years, I've lost 45 pounds. I've rebalanced my hormones. My digestion has been improved tremendously. My skin quality, I look younger. I mean, I could just go on and on. Aches and pains are gone. I was kind of at the worst health that I had been in my life, and now I'm definitely at the best health that I've been at since my 20s. And so, I'm just coming to kind of bring people hope and also just good information about essential oils and how they can be used in very practical ways, either by smelling them, rubbing them on, the skin, depending on what the ailment or the issue might be, or actually ingesting them, because Young Living's oils are basically approved by the FDA, most of them, for internal consumption. So, and each oil is labeled, accordingly, so people know which ones are the best to take internally. But they just have a way of enhancing health within the body, helping the body to transport oxygen into cells. They help with the absorption of minerals, vitamins. Using essential oils, even in supplements, Young Living actually creates supplements that all of our supplements have essential oils added because they are a transport system, and they do allow those oils, those vitamins, because of the oil, to penetrate the cell walls much more easily. So there's just a host of things that essential oils do, and of course it's always hard to narrow that down for what we're going to talk about in any given hour.
I gotcha. Well, I think that the issue of people understand how you take something. I mean, they're used to taking a tablet or a capsule, and even drops, which certainly would be comparable to how you would use an essential oil if you wanted to consume it. Placing things on the skin, I don't think that's a foreign concept. The issue of being able to breathe them in, however, I think that's the real beauty of this thing with the essential oils, because they've had vaporizers when they've been ill for various problems, and they were always respiratory problems. But it goes much further than that. Talk about this ability that the essential oils have to be able to enter the bloodstream and make it just about everywhere it needs to do by breathing them in. I think that's what's so fascinating and so aromatically pleasing about using essential oils.
That's a very good point. They smell wonderful. So I know for me, just the psychological benefits of having something, people love, the smell of candles, or, sometimes they like the smell of an air freshener, but those things are so deadly for you. They're just so toxic. The essential oils add a great smell to the air by using them in what's called a diffuser. So really the only thing that's necessary to transform the liquid of an essential oil into a gas is pressure. So you're putting it in a diffuser that actually puts that oil under pressure and then sends it out into the air as a vapor. And as I'm breathing that in, one, it's immediately going to the, again, certain oils will, like frankincense oil, will actually go immediately into the limbic area of the brain. So that's the seat of our emotions. That's the seat of our spiritual awareness. It's where a lot of communication takes place in the brain between hormones. The pituitary, the hypothalamus, the thyroid. And so it actually helps clear off the receptor sites and allow communication to happen more easily, between various signaling of the body. It also will enter the lung. And so people will find if they have problems, like you said, with respiratory or even asthma, that's a huge way to get the oils into the system quickly, easily, and have it go right to the source of the problem. But then it actually, when you breathe them in, an essential oil, whether it's put on the body, whether it's breathed into the body, basically can travel throughout the entire body within 20 seconds. And it can be in every cell in the body because it doesn't have to be transported through the digestive system, or it doesn't have to go through the blood circulatory system. It basically can just travel through cells very quickly and easily throughout the body, using the interstitial fluid, using the lymphatic system, using the blood system, but it just, whatever cells are there, the oils can travel through. So it's the beauty of it is it's just, it's quick, very effective. You can sometimes almost get instantaneous results. People will notice, if they have a headache and they're smelling peppermint oil, putting it across their forehead, maybe on their temples, that their headache oftentimes will just disappear. So they don't necessarily have to rely on Tylenol or aspirin. If someone has respiratory issues, using something like a eucalyptus oil, which, we're familiar with the smell because Vicks has eucalyptus in it, but it also has a lot of petrochemicals, which are not healthy for us. And so this actually gives you just the eucalyptus without the, without the added toxins that are going to, hinder our body. So, yeah, so in smelling them is a great way to enjoy them, but also to use them for therapeutic uses. Lavender is very relaxing, great for sleep.
You got over how many different oils are possible? I mean, the Young Living actually puts together and bottles them. How many?
It's a good question. I want to say about 120.
120.
But they keep coming out with new ones because Gary Young, who's the founder of Young Living, he travels around the world and he will find the oldest people in different places, and he'll find plants or things that people have used medicinally, and that they've heard from their parents and their grandparents, and they've passed on, and then they'll basically take those plants and they'll start to study them and determine what are the actual properties. So again, everything is done scientifically. It's not just hearsay and, wow, this sounds like it would be good, let's try it. You're actually analyzing the constituents in the oils, and they know what phenols do. They know what, sesquiterpenes do. They know what the different characteristics of the oils will do in the body. And so when they get an oil that they're really excited about, they will actually test it out for a while, and then they'll make it available to us as the new plant, as a new oil. So that's exciting because there's always new things that we're getting, and it just keeps growing. And we have, Young Living actually has farms, 9 or 10 different farms now on 4 continents all over the world. So they're managing these farms, or they actually own the farms in these places. I will say, just because I know this is something that is of interest to me, but many people, they do actually treat all of their workers fairly, give living wages, and so they manage their farms, in a very loving way, both to care for the plants in a loving way, but also the people that are working for them. And they're managing the entire process, so they know the seed that's planted, the soil that is planted in. They know how the plants are cultivated and taken care of. They know exactly how they're distilled because they're in charge of that entire process. They know that they're distilling at low temperatures so that oil is still alive. That's the key. Many people will say, well, I know this oil that I get from someplace else is a pure peppermint oil. But how is it distilled? Was it distilled with chemicals? Was it distilled at very high temperatures? How did they get that oil out of the plant? Because you can kill that plant, just like when you cook food. A lot of times we're killing a lot of the vitamins and nutrients.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
So we want this oil to be completely living so that everything in it is still alive and viable by the body to be able to be used.
All right. I think that's a great summation, and it brings some folks that may not have been so conversant about essential oils up to the point where we can all have a great conversation now and all learn something new. I always like when you're around, Susie, because you teach me something every time you take the airways, every time you're here in my office. So let's talk about what you're going to be doing this week. You're coming here on Thursday. Talk about that cluster you have. It's a little seminar that you hold each and every first Thursday of the month. And maybe some people who are listening right now may call up today at our number here in the office, 724-942-3002, if they'd like to be a part of it. What is it that you do on Thursdays in my office?
Well, what I do is, I know that, an hour on the air is not really long enough to answer everyone's questions, and especially if they have specific questions. So what we do is we give people the chance to come and to hear a little bit more about essential oils specifically. I pass around 10, 12 different oils for us to try, and I share what each of those specific oils is best known for, what its characteristics are, and why it works as well as it does, and I share stories. So I will talk about things that have happened in my family, things that have happened for other people I know, how they've used this particular oil. So people get to smell them, they get to try them, they get to ask their questions, and it's always a great conversation and a great opportunity for people to, to learn more and then figure out, okay, how can I get these? If this is something that interests me and I want to try this, and then we can either help them order some products, or we can help them sign up to become a wholesale member themselves and get the products sent directly to them. So that's what we're doing as far as giving them a more complete introduction.
Nice small group. I see. Well, you got 10 to maybe 12 or 14 sometimes. So I like the idea that my waiting room becomes this educational cauldron, and everybody looks like they're having a great amount of fun out there, and they always laugh, and they're carrying on, and they're walking away with an awareness they didn't have on the way in, and many of them do see the need to get the products, and to even be able to get them at a very reasonable price because they can do it in a wholesale way. If they just, I guess they got to be a member themselves or a distributor themselves, however that thing works. Okay.
Right, right. And let me just mention, if somebody's hearing this show and they know maybe they live at a distance, they can't make it to your office, they can go to Young Living's website, which is www.youngliving.com, and as long as they have your ID number, Dr. Courtney, which is, I can give people that number.
Oh yeah, you got to have it to get in. You can read all you want, but if you really want to buy something, you got to use a code. What is mine?
Your code is 1566620. So and that's right, and it's just basically so that the person that introduced you to the company, this company does actually reward people for sharing, and that's a beautiful thing because as we share with others, we bless their life, but then also we're thanked by Young Living by being compensated somewhat. So again, the ID number, when you get to youngliving.com, you can look around, you can read about the oils. The other thing I do point out to people is to remember that we are registered as a skincare food supplement company, so they cannot make medicinal claims on their website or in any of their printed literature. But there are lots of other places where you can get much more detailed information about, and again, I'm a resource always. But so again, if they go to the site and they see some things they want to try and they want to purchase a couple products, or they want to sign up to be a wholesale member, they would use your ID number, which again is 1566620. And then from there, they can purchase as often as they like, or again, they can always contact me and ask questions. So.
All right. Now, each and every time a month rolls by, you have certain things that come up during the month. We were talking off air, and some folks are bringing you their own stories of how Young Living has helped them, how these oils have helped them, and particular situations, their medical situations where I got to tell you, the conventional treatment for sure hasn't helped them. One woman that you were talking and pretty proud of and wanted to talk about today is a young lady with Lyme's disease. Could you maybe fill in the gaps? I got some cryptic ideas of how this all came about, but maybe you can set the stage a little better.
Okay. Well, actually, I was several events I've been at. There was specifically some families, one woman in particular who mentioned that she and her husband have Lyme's disease. And the one person actually, the wife actually contracted it through a blood transfusion. The husband actually was bit by a tick. And in her research and learning, a little bit more about the conventional methods, and then just hearing more about how in Western Pennsylvania specifically, there's it's a pretty serious
common disease, common problem here for Pennsylvania. I think we're number 2. Of all the states, we're number 2 with Lyme disease because of these tick bites. Yeah.
And, I think it's important for people to know that there are things that they can do and that they shouldn't be afraid to go outside, and actually enjoy being in nature because that's very healing, So to be afraid to be in the trees or be afraid to let your kids go outside and play would be definitely something that we would want to discourage. So I thought this would be a great time for me to say a little bit about Lyme's disease and, kind of give people a little more confidence that they could treat this if it happened to come their way. I hadn't given it much thought, but now I love to camp. I love to hike. I don't want to stop doing those things, but I do want to be smart. And so, again, Lyme disease, just to kind of explain, is basically a bacterial infection that deer ticks, or they call them, I forget the other name for them, is something legged, black-legged ticks, pick up by drinking the blood of infected animals such as deer or white-footed mice. And when they have been infected themselves and they continue to spread that, each victim that they attach themselves to. And so again, and it said, not every tick that you might find on yourself carries the disease, but, if I realize that I've been affected by a tick, it's very easy for me to treat that using an antibacterial oil. And they said that it takes basically like 48 hours for the tick to actually infect you, 36 to 48 hours before you're actually infected by that tick. So if somebody's outdoors, they're hiking, they're camping, they're walking through tall grass, and they should always double check themselves, double check their hair, double check their body before the end of the day. If they find that there's a tick who suddenly wasn't there the day before, they can basically very easy to remove by using essential oils. Taking either a peppermint oil or thieves, which is a blend that has cinnamon bark oil in it, dropping that right onto the tick. Within a matter of minutes, that tick will be so uncomfortable.
Really?
From the phenols in the oils that it will literally let go. So you don't end up with the head still attached. You end up with a tick that's completely removed. And so it will basically just kind of pull back, take it off, get rid of it, And then what I would do is, again, seeds oil is very antibacterial. So you can use that. You can use RC. There's a couple different blends that are especially good. But basically, just by dropping the oil then onto the spot where the tick was, that is a natural antibiotic. So cinnamon oil, clove oil, rosemary, eucalyptus, and lemon are in that blend seeds, and it's been found to be highly, highly effective against many, many, many different bacteria.
I've never heard of it being able to allow. That's great, because there've been things they have to burn them off. You can't just pluck them off, because if you do, you're right. The part of the carcass remains, and then this thing regenerates, and you got all sorts of problems. You really never get rid of the problem by thinking you plucked it, because you can't. I have never heard this thing about using the oils to do it. That is great news.
You learned something new today, right?
You always do this. So, campers out there need to get thieves and put it in the backpack. You gotta carry this stuff. Very good.
Right, is that we have an oil called Purification, and it's a blend of oils, but one of the components in that is the citronella, and that is a natural repellent for ticks, fleas, insects, mosquitoes. So that's actually my bug spray. The other thing that I love is, instead of having to load myself up with DEET or some kind of a really nasty
toxic stuff
spray, that I'm now putting on my skin, and it's being absorbed through my skin into my body and going into my cells, I can put purification oil on me. So I will always carry that in my backpack. And if you get bit by a bug, I get bit by a mosquito, literally just taking a small drop and rubbing it on the bite will immediately neutralize the saliva of the mosquito, or whatever. It actually says it's good for snake bites, for spider bites, and for mosquito bites. I've tested it for spiders and mosquitoes. I've not tested it for snakes. But again, the idea is that it neutralizes the poison. And my daughter-in-law, one of my fun stories with this oil is, on their wedding day, they had to take their pictures before the wedding ceremony. And of course, being young people and liking all these, great photographs outdoors, they went out into a field. Now, just remember, this is Texas on the coast in June. So the most prominent living thing at that point in the month is mosquitoes,
Sure.
And so they're out in the field, and they're taking all these pictures, and when they got to the church, my daughter-in-law, who swells up when she gets bit by mosquitoes, had been bit numerous times. And my daughter called me in a panic and said, "Mom, bring the oil, the purification oil, to the bride's chamber in the back of the church, because Kristen's been bit a lot." So they went right to work, putting the purification oil all over her. And 10 minutes later, when she walked down the aisle, you would never have known that she had been bit. She had not one mark, did no swelling. So for the rest of the weekend that we were together, everybody kept coming to my hotel room or finding me and saying, "Do you have some of that oil? Can we use your oil?" Because it worked so well, so.
Oh, what a great little personal story to add to it. with respect, by the way, this little beep in the background makes it obvious to me now. People always want to get a chance to speak with you. We sort of have some time today. Do you mind taking questions as they roll in? Because
Not at all.
oh, that's wonderful. Look, I'm inviting all of you, if you have a question for Susie, dial us up at 412-825-6262. We do have one knocking on the door right now. Why don't you come on in the store? Hello, welcome aboard. You're with Susie. Go right ahead.
Hi, Dr. Courtney. Hi, Susie. I have a quick question for you. With the oils, is there third-party testing or any kind of confirmation that none of the oils have elevated levels of heavy metals or any other toxins or pesticides?
Actually, every batch of oils before it's bottled is tested both by Young Living and by an outside source. And if it doesn't meet the purity, I mean, there's nothing in these oils except those plants. They're grown on virgin soil. What's in that bottle is nothing except that particular plant or that blend of plants. So they don't add anything else to the bottles. Like Gary Young has basically said he will never adulterate an oil. So he will not stretch it using even water. I mean, you know, if there's a reason to put a carrier oil with it because it's too thick or because, but that they'll label it right on the bottle, so you'll know exactly.
All right. My question though is not that there might be a contaminant from the bottle, but more so that some plants have higher uptake than others of certain heavy metals, and since it takes a lot of plants to produce a small bottle of oil, I was wondering whether or not, because you're talking about ingesting oil in many instances, and so I want to make sure that it's not elevated levels of heavy metals.
Absolutely, and they do, and they actually will, they'll actually, like, there's a book called The Essential Oil Death Reference, which will actually state, like, what the percentages of different constituents should be within the oils. And so, both they want it to be obviously toxic-free, like you're saying. Even our omega gyes, which is our omega-3 fatty acid, which is from fish, is tested heavily to be sure that there's no mercury, there's no, none of the metals that can be oftentimes in fish, especially wild-caught fish, which is what you want. You don't want farm-raised anything. But, so yes, so they're very committed to testing and making sure that things are pure, not just that they think they're pure, but that they can actually show with documentation that they're pure.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great question. Thanks for that answer. They're starting to run now. They know they can shot at you, so you don't Here we go, Susie. It's going to work like a little choo-choo train going on the track. That number, once again, folks, 412-825-6262. You're with Susie Weiss today. Why don't you come on board? Hello. Welcome aboard. You're with Susie. Go ahead. Hello. Hello.
I think I heard them hang up.
Oh, goodness. I'm sorry. Okay, well, if you think you made a mistake, you really didn't. You were right on in there. Dial us up again at 412-825-6262. Why don't you also just take a moment to talk about, as people are listening and wondering how the oils can help them in particular. You have this neat little thing. You scan them, and I wanted you to have an opportunity to explain for those out there who, of course, want to learn about essential oils. Just come on in. It's on Thursday this week. Give us a call here at the office, as I've mentioned before. But you have another special day. You come back 2 weeks later, and you actually do scans. Take about 30, 40 minutes to go over them. Talk about the scan and how it could be beneficial.
Okay. Basically what it is called the Zyto, the ZYTO Compass. Is the version I'm using. It's a scan that uses technology that used on a more expensive program, and then also this simpler program, which is the one I use because I'm not a medical professional. But it gives people another view, another look, kind of a snapshot into their house by saying, there's areas of your body that are out of balance, and here's the products from Young Living that would be most beneficial. So it basically kind of targets what is your body showing a preference for. It's using a galvanized skin response. You just put your hand on what's called a hand cradle, and it has metal plates on it. And so as your hand is on this hand cradle, it's actually sending little signals, again, very low dosages, but through the different energy pathways of the body. And it is determining where is their blockages, where is their out of balance in the body. And then it will run the signatures of different products from Young Living through the body. And in 3 different scans, it will tell you what essential oils might be most helpful, what supplements, what other, products. And then based on the recommendations, we can talk about, wow, it looks like you have a lot of digestive things being suggested. Or it looks like, there's some thyroid suggestions here. And then that way well, maybe I'll get this checked a little more from my doctor, or maybe you already know you have some digestive issues. This will give you some suggestions for things that Young Living offers that could seem to be a direct benefit to your body, that your body seems to show a preference for. So, again, it's another, we call it product support technology. It's giving you a little more confidence in what products, if you wanted to try something from Young Living, might be the best place to start. And people find, oftentimes they'll say to me, wow, I can't believe how accurate the scan was. I can't believe it kind of pinpointed some of the things that I've been struggling with that, sometimes it'll even be on an emotional level. And they might not have even confided that in some other people,
Perfect.
So they're surprised the scan picked it up.
All right. We do have another call. I think that whether it's a save caller or another one. Come on, this story. You're with Susan. Go right ahead.
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello. Am I on?
You are on.
Okay, Dr. Courtney. Thank you for having this wonderful guest talking about essential oils. And I just wanted to ask, I have cancer in the bowels, and it's coming out as hemorrhoids, but the hemorrhoids have shrunk half, but I know they are cancer. I thought they were hemorrhoids until I had to go to the hospital and get a colostomy bag, and the doctors told me I have cancer. I have a big massive cancer that was some weeks ago. But now, someone told me if the hemorrhoids shrank, the inside shrunk. Now, I know this is not appropriate for her, but for a person that has cancer and has had chemo and radiation, and I'm trying to do everything healthy I can to help outbalance the treatments I have to have and the cancer I have, is there any, like, essential oil or some little thing that's healthy that I could add to my repertoire? Many things from Dr. Courtney and others that are healthy that I think would help get rid of the cancer.
Well, I'll tell you what, Susie, anything on the immune side of the equation looks like, she's doing chemo and radio, and they're so toxic, and I know she, is wrestling with that decision, but with someone embroiled as deeply as Teresa seems to be with these problems, what essential combinations do you think could be helping her at this particular time? Go ahead.
Thanks, Dr. Courtney, for wording it. It's helping me. So I'm trying to help.
Oh, it's what I'm here for, Teresa.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I would say one thing that frankincense oil has been studied extensively, the sacred frankincense and also the frankincense.
What is frankincense oil?
And that oil, again, is one that doctors have actually documented. They've had one particular study had a woman with stage 4 breast cancer. She took pretty strong doses of frankincense oil internally, and within 28 days her cancer was completely gone and her healthy cells had regenerated. So, using some frankincense oil can never hurt you. It might be helpful. Orange oils and different citrus oils, limonene in them. The limonene is very cancer preventive, and so people will, again, they say if you diffuse even orange oil in the air and diffuse a half a bottle a day, that's just getting it into your system. Your body will use that to help it, basically orange oil in whatever way it needs. Again, your body is hard enough that if it's given the ability to work on its own in some ways, if we haven't hindered the natural responses to it, then these are things your body can take and use in a very helpful way. So people will, and then sometimes people will actually create, for something like what you have, create suppositories using coconut oil.
Oh.
And they will take them and put the essential oils in them, and then maybe use a good, Young Living sells a really good probiotic called Life 5. There's things you can put into this suppository. What you do is you put them in the suppository mold and you freeze them, and then you can pop them out one at a time, and before you go to bed, you're going to put one in, and as you sleep, the body will absorb from that area.
You mean, Susie, you mean like deposit in my rectum?
Yes.
Oh, Susie, thank you. And it can be working at night.
Right, while you're sleeping. And the coconut oil is very healing. You know, so there's, and the other thing is...
And how would I take the coconut?
The coconut oil is what you're using into like a little bullet with the oils attached. You know, like put in, so you're stirring the oils into the coconut oil and then freezing them in this mold, which are like little bullets, you know.
Little pellets you can insert, sure.
Right, and if you come Thursday, I can share with you where you can get those suppository molds, and
if I could come
a little bit more about them.
The trouble is, I'm going for treatment every morning.
Okay.
And my nurse is here and getting ready, and I'm going for the treatment in the hospital. But Dr. Courtney, if I called your office, I know Kim is always helpful. Could I maybe have anyone remind me or know just what Susie...
You call the office. By the way, Susie will take your personal call too. Susie, why don't you give her your number, because I know you do this frequently.
I do. So if you wanted to give me a call, my number is 740 632
632
5159.
5159.
Right. And just, I don't know if we said the time of the meeting at Dr. Courtney's office, but it starts at 2 o'clock.
At 2 o'clock this Thursday.
Right, 2 o'clock. So we go from 2 until the office closes at 4, so that we can't be any longer than that.
If I can, I'll go.
All right.
Okay.
If not, you call her, okay?
Very, very much. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Thank you.
Oh, you can tell she was, you thank her so much. I know Teresa very well, and she's having a battle right now, and anything you can do to help her, and it seems like you've given her some good ideas. Absolutely wonderful ideas. And the onslaught continues, Susie. We have another caller. Come on in the store. You're with Susie. Go right ahead.
Morning, Dr. Courtney. Good morning, Susie. I guess in going with what Teresa was just talking about, what, maybe just repeating yourself, what would you have to improve a person's white blood cell count?
Immune system
That's
stuff.
a really good question, and I would have to look some of this up, you know, to be able to answer it completely, but I know that I have a friend who basically has lymphoma. I mean, she has, you know, and she's actually been able to get her white blood cell count back to normal. So I know she's using frankincense in high doses. I also know she's using some of the supplements from Young Living that are very helpful in rebuilding the body. So I'd have to actually look that up because, again, you know, that's not something that I kind of have right on the tip of my tongue. So I'd like to look that up and have you call me.
Is it the thalamus that produces white blood cells for the body?
No.
Thymus or thalamus?
Thymus. The thymus is helpful. Yes.
Okay. Well.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying. Was there something there for the thymus?
It begins with a T. Well, you can get confused. Don't worry about it. Okay. Thank you, Sam. All right. Wonderful. We're coming into the gun lab portion. We've got a few minutes left. Susie, why don't you take it and sort of wrap it up?
Okay. Well, and again, I wanted to just, I know we've been talking about lots of different topics, and I wanted to just let people know, too, that oils like the seeds oil, you know, for something like, if somebody does have Lyme disease, there's actually a supplement from Young Living called Inner Defense, which actually is a huge antibacterial boost. It's oils in a capsule that people can take internally. Last week, I woke up one day and just felt not right. And then by midday, I really felt sick. And I just took one Inner Defense capsule, and within 2 hours, I felt great again. And, you know, so just want people to know that there are natural things that they can do, and essential oils can be part of that. You know, for me, it's a whole lifestyle. It's eating healthy. It's, you know, but my niece was here last night. She said, you know, I have a headache. Can I have an ibuprofen? And I don't own a drug in my house. I don't, you know, I said, I can give you some peppermint oil. I don't have anything else, you know. I haven't needed it. And I haven't had a drug in my house in the last 3.5 years. Mm-hmm. So I just want people to know there are great options available to them. They can try some natural things. If they get great results, then they can, you know, avoid putting extra, you know, toxins into their system and get their body working the way it should be so that it can basically boost your immune system, heal itself, get yourself back to the way God intended, you know. So that's my hope, is to help people do that.
You've been very helpful to our callers in today. And folks, if you want to learn more, you want to be a part of that group Susie puts together each and every month. This particular month, she meets on first Thursday, so you can give us a call here if you'd like to be a part of it. It's 2 o'clock in my office, 724-942-3002. We'll get you the opportunity to just reserve a little seat and spend a couple hours with Susie. You're going to walk away much more enriched and really enjoy some great smells and aroma while you're here, and who knows, maybe even take some home. Thank you, Susie.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So, folks, there you have it for today. Don't forget, big month coming up here with respect to our top docs. Each and every, well, it's going to start next Monday with Dr. Robinson, but we got some great stuff coming up for the summer. Susie's going to be back 2 weeks from now. Don't forget to give her a call. If you'd like to get those scans, I'm going to give you her number once again, 740-632-5159. That's 740-632-5159. If you'd like to get these Zyto scans, on Wednesday, Dr. Vava Voom herself is going to be here talking about sleep issues. I get that special recording tomorrow afternoon. Just type in an email as we're speaking here with Dr. Merlitas. I'll bring the Neo40 concept. Nitric oxide has a new role to play in treating you for your hypertension problems. We'll have that explanation with Dr. Merlitas. So, this is Dr. Dennis Courtney with Susie Weiss saying so long for AM Impact on Your Health. You gone, Susie?